the Shine Bright Redox talks, which I'm always so thrilled to be part of. I just love this technology, and to be able to share it through a Tuesday night Redox talk is just amazing. I learned so much in the beginning with, hearing about other people's journeys. So to get started, my name is Janene Babauskis, and tonight is all about sharing a breakthrough. It's a breakthrough technology that can change your life. We're going to be talking about redox signaling molecules and the difference these healing signaling molecules that underpin the health and repair of our cells have made in the life of our guest tonight. So a company by the name of ASEA has brought to market the only 3 redox signaling products on the planet. So it's one technology available in 3 different products. We have a liquid redox supplement and an outside-in application of a gel and a serum. And I'm really grateful that Cheryl Penrose reached out to me 5 years ago and invited me to have a look at this breakthrough technology because it changed my life. So 5 years ago, I found myself in a really foreign place. I had some minor health challenges. I felt lost, without purpose. I was really low in energy, and that was really foreign for me. And my financial well-being was challenged. So I started on the Redox gel because that's what was available in Australia 5 years ago. And within 2 to 6 weeks, all my health challenges and low energy resolved. And 4 months later, my financial well-being was on track. So this technology occurs to me that everybody needs to know about this science breakthrough. Now tonight we have a special guest with us who will be sharing her redox experience. But before we get started, I invite you to think about the following questions. Do you have a health challenge? Or perhaps you know of someone with a health challenge that needs help. Would you like to reduce the visible signs of aging? I mean, wrinkles and saggy skin are just damaged cells. Do you want to have more energy to do what you love? You're looking for improved athletic or physical performance, or would you just love to have more energy when you get home at the end of the day? Therefore, you're not just heading for the couch for the evening. Or maybe you want time or money freedom for a better lifestyle. So to really live well, we need 2 basic things. We need a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and enough money for the freedom to have choices in our life. Now, to have the body or well-being you want, you might be exercising, you might have changed or modified your diet, you may be taking nutritionals, you might be doing all of these and everything you can think of, or you might be doing nothing at all. Interesting and frustratingly, no matter what you do, as you age, your cells respond less and less effectively to all of these strategies. Your cells naturally begin to break down, producing less energy, taking longer to repair, and sometimes not repairing at all. But what if your cells could be just more efficient? Your exercise, your nutrition, your supplementation, and everything else you did could be more effective. You could be healthier longer with less effort. How would that be? Well, several years ago, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. They identified molecules that your body produces inside of every cell that helps them repair and regenerate. And once discovered, there was years of research and development went into figuring out how to stabilize these molecules outside of the body so that they could be used to top up your redox levels, which deplete through the decades. So as a result, we have a molecular technology that helps your cells function better. And when your cells function better, everything works better. So any steps that you're taking to improve your health become more effective. Nutritional supplementation works better, you feel better, you look better, you sleep better, you have more energy. So for me, I was turning 60, I was on a fabulous nutritional program, but I didn't realize that redox signaling molecules were depleting. And because of that, I wasn't able to utilize my nutrition. So by adding in the Redox, I had the worker bees, if you like, and then I had the nutritional building blocks so my body could go into repair, and things happened pretty fast for me. So now let's hear from our special guest tonight, Wendy Maton, and her Redox experience. So I'm just going to ask Wendy to unmute herself.
Hello.
There you go. Wendy, hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to share your story tonight. I've had the privilege of getting to know Wendy over 3 years, and I've really loved working with her. And she's got an incredible story, and her story starts off pretty simple. It didn't take much to get her attention regarding the redox signaling molecule. So Wendy, can you just take us back 3 years to what was going on for you before that day when your kinesiologist came over with some gel?
Well, I've been a runner since I was 14, and I wanted to keep running for as long as I could. But because a lot of the times when I went running, invariably I'd kick at something, I just was developing more and more discomfort as time was going on in my toe joints. And I'd actually already had surgery on my right toe, which didn't actually fix it as such. I still was having issues with that toe as well. And I was taking 8,000 milligrams of fish oil a day, which is, I guess, what you were saying before. You're doing everything you can to try to keep functioning, and that just wasn't really working anymore. So I was at a point where I didn't really want to have my left foot touched and cut open, because I'd actually had an infection and post-op issues when they touched my right foot. And I knew it was not a fix. It was a step towards maybe even more surgery that was not going to free me and allow me to keep running. And that to me really was shattering, because I loved running. So anyway, Peter Reed rang me one day, and I actually started to complain over the phone, because it was that bad that even when I wasn't doing anything, I was aware of this discomfort. And he asked me what was wrong, and I explained about my foot, and he came over and put the gel on and did the 3 and 5, and I had an immediate freeing of this discomfort and couldn't believe it. And in the back of my mind, having been a registered nurse for 10 years, I thought, well, this is probably short-lived. And it wasn't. And I think every day for the next 5 days, when I got up to walk and I was no longer having this terrible discomfort, I cried, because I couldn't believe that there was something here that had stopped that challenge that I'd had to deal with for 15 years. And it was been accumulating and getting worse and worse over all those years. And I just was in shock. So then, of course, that was where my journey began with Redox.
Exactly. So a generous kinesiologist said, I'm coming over, I'm going to do a 3 and 5 with this gel. I mean, and as you said, as being a nurse, it's like, what just happened? Like that's just not even possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the next morning you get up and you still have zero discomfort. And the thing is, you'd lived in major discomfort for 15 years. So, you just burst into tears. I remember you sharing that with me. It was very, very moving. So it's been 3 years now. Just tell us how you manage that. Like, do you need to apply gel every day? And also, you started to apply gel to the toe that had been operated on, because that still wasn't like a success. It's not like, oh yeah, tick that, that's no longer a challenge. Yeah, tell us a bit about that.
Well, because of this issue with my toe joints, my foot was a bigger size than normal, and my shoes wouldn't fit properly, and all of a sudden over a period of 2 weeks my shoes were loose, which is quite, like, again, unbelievable. And I think I had half a day of loose stools where I was detoxing, where I had to run to the toilet.
Yeah.
And that was the rapid acceleration of the repair that was going on in my foot. And I put the gel on diligently 3 to 4 times every day for the first month. And then I weaned myself off the gel gradually as it was getting, felt better. and more flexible. So after about 4 months, I was maybe putting it on once a week, and I don't put anything on it anymore now.
And that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. And do you run?
Yeah, I do run. Yeah.
She does.
Yeah, I run 5
running.
kilometres, and I'm back to it. It's just, that's what's, I really didn't want to let go of that, and to have that given back to you when you think that it's just a downhill journey from here on, and this is just the start of a number of deteriorating things that are going to start happening to me as I get older, was just really freeing.
Yeah, exactly. And tell us a bit about the other toe.
Well, it's quite funny because after I was getting, something happening on my left toe, my right foot, which was the one that was supposed to be good, started to not feel so good
anymore
in comparison. Yep. So I've been putting it on that too. But I have to say that the one that's had its journey to complete health via the gel has done better than the one that they fiddled with under the knife.
Yeah.
But no, I can't complain. I really have got my feet back.
Yeah, you've got your feet back, and for you, that's kind of like getting your life back, because you just so love running. I personally think that's crazy, but anyway, each to their own. Now, while I'm talking to Wendy, if any questions occur to you as we move along, just pop them in the chat box, and I'll have Wendy answer those at the end. Now, Wendy, you started on the gel in October 2016, and then in December 2016, you started taking the liquid, like 60 mils twice a day, a standard dose. And there was a bit of a surprise waiting for you, because in spring, you really suffered badly with a spring condition, if you like. And of course, you'd already gone past that the first year you started. So tell us about what happened when we got to spring in 2017.
Well, I just didn't get any of the horrible, annoying symptoms that I used to get. And again, I used to, ever since I was 14, I was getting, I started getting these issues at springtime: itchy mouth, itchy ears, blocked nose, and it invariably led to infections and losing my voice because I teach. So I always used to get used to September. I'd be 2 weeks maybe written off where I'd have issues that stem from those symptoms that were debilitating and put me in bed, and temperatures, and so I didn't get any of that, and I haven't had it this year either. So other people at work have been getting it, and I've been, well, I don't get it anymore. And also the foods that I used to have that tended to set those symptoms off, I used to feel that my spring condition was extending and getting longer. It wasn't just at springtime anymore. It was like whenever you have these certain foods, like dairy food, I used to get those symptoms flare up. Exactly. No matter what time of the year it was, and I'm able to have some of those foods now, and it doesn't do anything. So
so it was really also wheat was an issue. And look, you can avoid those things, but like sometimes if you get exposure, you want to know that you're not going to be bedridden for the next 2 days and feeling terrible. So that's really interesting. And as a nurse, you kind of got a sense that your immune system was stronger as a result of being on the Redox, because these inappropriate responses of the immune system is what it's really all about. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
Well, I actually developed an abscess this year back in January, and it was about the size of a 50-cent coin, and it went up internally into my body. And I didn't really know what it was, but I went to a doctor to see. I couldn't get into my GP, he's so busy. I just went to a local doctor and got a diagnosis, and he said that it could need lancing, and gave me some options, and I just said no, it's all right. And
I've got Redox.
I just started to put the gel on it, and I actually just went and saw my normal GP a couple of days ago, and he said, are you sure it was an abscess? And I got him to palpate where it was, and there's a tiny little like spot there now still internally that you can feel. And he said, most people, they get temperatures, they're very sick, They, don't feel well at all. Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I did. Like, you can feel where it was. And I said, I think it's my redox, because of course I've told them about my redox.
Yeah.
And I said, I think because my immune system is pretty good. I didn't really, apart from a bit of discomfort, it wasn't that sore. I didn't get a temperature. I just didn't lose my appetite. I just was able to keep soldiering on. And I trust in the molecules. I'll do whatever they've got to do. And I think people that haven't tried it before, they need to, I think it doesn't even matter if you don't believe it. You just need to trust that it is what's already in your body, and it will do what it's got to do the best way it can, and just keep persisting, and eventually you're gonna get your healing. That's
Beautiful.
all I can say. Because if I would have been after a week, nothing's happened, I would have quit. But I knew that that healing was gonna catch up, and it did.
Yeah.
I just kept going with it.
And the other thing is to kind of speed it along and help, you were applying it about 5 times a day, and the thing is, you can't apply too much of it. Just get as much redox in as you can, and you've got a bigger army going in there to deal with that. Now, you also had an accident at work about 13 years ago, and to just manage so that you could live with the symptoms of that injury, you fortnightly were having treatments, and you're also having additional treatment in the form of Bowen every fortnight. Just tell us a little bit about that, because that was basically 13 years you were managing an injury, weren't you?
Yeah, I'd overused my arm on the computer at work.
Yep.
And it had developed issues in my neck and my shoulders. And if I didn't keep on top of it, and if I overdid it with anything like doing that for half an hour, that would set off a chain reaction where I'd get stiffening in my neck, and that would give me a sore head, where I'd be physically sick, and I'd have to go lie down, and again I'd be written off for sometimes days or even a week, because
Yep.
it was really, so I was just sort of always really careful about what I was doing with it. But when I had the gel and it did that to my foot, I thought, I'll put it on my shoulders, because of course when you had the result initially on one area, you don't really think much about any other spot. But when you go, what about my shoulder and my neck? And it's been great, because I've gone from seeing someone fortnightly, and then I was seeing a Bowen therapist 6 weekly, and now I don't even need to go anymore. I just things that used to aggravate it, my shoulder and my neck, don't anymore, and I feel confident because I have the gel. So I know that if I can feel anything at all coming on, I just get the gel, and I'm going to be fine, and I can keep soldiering on all day.
Yeah. So
that's been really good.
I've just got a couple of questions there. So when you started applying it to the neck region, which is where you had the discomfort, how often were you applying it, and how long before it started to shift where it's like, I don't have this condition anymore?
It probably was a couple of months where I could say that I was, because I tested it a bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of cleaning and renovating and painting and stuff, and then I was like, I've just been able to go all day and my neck is okay. I'll just put gel on in the morning and gel on it at night.
Yep.
And I still tend to do that with my skin care routine on my face. I put the gel on my neck twice a day with my face.
So,
because,
and exactly, like I've known you for 3 years now, and often you are like 3 days, overhauling and renovating and cleaning, some of your properties, and like you have total confidence that you can take that on and just get the job done. Whereas prior to using the gel in that area, that wasn't possible.
Well, I'd have to finish after 4 or 5 hours, because I knew that if I did more than that, I'd be a wreck and I wouldn't be able to do anything. Yeah. And when you look at the price of the gel, I just think even if you use a tube a day, if it keeps you going for 8 hours, what price do you put in it? Especially if you're like me and you're renovating, I'd have to pay someone to do it. So
exactly. So
it's cheap.
Yeah,
it's just so cheap.
And what did the Bowen therapist say? Because you still see him a couple of times a year. He noticed something as well.
Well, originally when I was seeing him before the gel, he could feel that I was knotted up and in my neck, and now I'm soft and it's loose in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, you didn't even really need to come and see me. Whereas before, I used to feel that I had to go, and he used to feel in my body that I needed the Bowen.
Yes.
But yeah, not so much well, I hardly go anymore. I only might go once before I go on a long flight, because you're
long haul. Yep.
That's hard on your neck.
Yeah.
So I do it more as a prevention than oh my God, I've got to go to Bowen, I'm a mess. I don't ever have that anymore. So yeah, it's been probably 2 years, I reckon, since I could say that I was debilitated by overuse of my arm. But it's just changed.
Not a consideration now.
Yeah, no. It's great.
So you compelled to share the molecules?
I am.
Yeah, I know you are. You got to tell everybody else.
Yeah, I'm very compelled, and I've just actually shared it with my builder, and he just keeps messaging me all these things he's trying it on and the results he's having, and it's really exciting.
It's really exciting, because there's a lot of people out there suffering, and they're still got to go out and earn their money, and it's hard. It's tough on them, and all of a sudden they've got freedom from, debilitating conditions. It's pretty tough for a lot of people out there. Thank you. You're amazing. You're adorable. And we've got some questions here and some comments. So Jen and Jeanette McDonald, great interview. Did Wendy check out the science in the beginning, or just trust what was happening?
Of course, I checked out the science. And then when I realised there was a liquid, I was like, I've got to have it. And yeah, that was I think Peter shared the ASEA Quick Draw and the Genesis with me, and I actually rang him up and said, "You're kidding that they didn't want this out there?" And he was like, "Yeah." So it's that's true. And I was like, "You're joking?" And yeah, it just made me more wanting to jump on board, because having seen what I saw when I was in part of that big system of rules and whatnot, I just was like, I need to get this to people. Yeah,
you're gorgeous. Another comment here from Margot. Great story, Wendy, from one nurse to another. Jen and Jeanette. Jen and Jeanette's comment is, I don't need my osteopath hardly at all anymore since using Redox for more than 3 years. Renew to the rescue. Yeah, Janice Dance, wow, great results, Wendy. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Is anybody else have a question or a comment for Wendy? You might want to unmute and ask her. Just keep it compliant. We are live on Renew with Redox. No, we're all good. I'm just going to, I think, see if
Can I say one more thing before I go?
Yeah, please do.
Well, I just have 5 more things that I just wanted to point out I've noticed in my body over the last 3 years. That I used to have no energy by 5 o'clock at night, and now I just go right up till 10 at night. I'm drinking 3 of the cups a day, so I'm on 1.5 normal dose. I used to
say a little bit more about that, because Wendy was talking to me today about finding your sweet spot. So on 2 cups a day, Wendy found that still at 5 o'clock at night you were tired, so she added in an extra cup, and now she can just have the energy she needs through to bedtime. Yeah, and it's important. If you don't have the energy that you want, add another cup in and see how you go with that. You also used to have things burnt off your face quite regularly.
Yeah, and the last 2 visits, I only go yearly to the doctor for a checkup. I haven't had to have any spots burnt off. And my eyesight is 20/20. I used to have to wear reading glasses, but I do spray twice a day on my face, which is easy. Doesn't take much.
Redox in my eyes.
And the veins on the backs of my hands, they used to stick right up. I thought, oh my gosh, I looked just like my mother when she was getting older. She had all the prominent veins in the backs of her hand, and now they've calmed right down, and I just it's great.
That's exciting. Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to say anything else.
No, that's it. I've finished now.
Okay. She does have another area, but we're not going to talk about that one. Yeah, no, it's really interesting, the backs of the hands, because your veins were very prominent, weren't they? And now you've just completely settled down. It's amazing. There's so many juicy bits to your redox journey. Thank you so much, Wendy. I really,
that's okay.
Really
my
appreciate
pleasure.
you. Such short notice getting on. You're so incredible. Thanks for your generosity. And thank you, all of our listeners tonight. Please join us every Tuesday night at 7:30 on the same Zoom number. And we've always, there's always so many different stories about the redox. Sometimes people sharing the results with our wonderful nutritionals as well. So I'm going to end this meeting now, although I think Nicole's going to come on. We're going to stop the live stream. Gosh, that was easy. And stop the recording. Okay, recording. Stop recording. Wow. Oh, my goodness.